A woman of worth does not scatter her words like wind-blown leaves. She speaks as the earth speaks, slow, rich, and certain. Her tone is a song of self-respect. Her pauses are poetry. And when she speaks, it is never to be heard, but to be remembered. To speak with grace, not haste, is to understand that every word carries weight, and once it leaves your lips, it cannot be taken back. Grace in speech is not simply about politeness or soft tones. It is about the deep intention behind what you say, the rhythm of your voice, and the respect you carry for both yourself and the person who hears you. A high-value woman knows that her words are not something to be thrown about carelessly, like spare change in a marketplace. They are rare coins, carefully minted, each one possessing value, meaning, and the power to shape how others see her and how she sees herself. When you rush to speak, your words often outrun your thoughts. They tumble and trip, spilling truths you may not have meant to reveal or offering promises you cannot keep. But when you slow down, when you allow silence to cradle your thoughts before they are born into sound, you give your words the space to grow roots. Graceful speech is never frantic. It has the calm authority of someone who does not fear being unheard. A woman of worth does not compete to speak the loudest or the fastest. She knows that the weight of her words will draw attention without her chasing it. There is also discipline in grace. Many people speak to fill silence, fearing the discomfort of a pause. But a pause can be more powerful than any sentence. It allows your listener to feel the depth of your meaning, to sense the layers of thought behind what you have just said. Silence, when used with intention, is a companion to grace. It says, "I am not afraid of stillness, for stillness does not diminish me." It also shows that you are listening, not only to others, but to yourself. When your words are treasures, you treat them as something precious. You do not spend them in anger without thought, nor do you give them away to anyone who has not earned the right to hear them. You consider the moment, the context, and the impact. It is not about withholding or playing games. It is about protecting your energy and ensuring that when you speak, your words hold the integrity of your heart and the wisdom of your mind. This is how respect is both given and received. Graceful speech also carries an elegance that is not forced. It does not rely on rehearsed lines or elaborate vocabulary. Instead, it flows naturally from self-awareness and confidence. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you do not need to over-explain or overcompensate. A simple sentence delivered with sincerity can be more persuasive than 100 hurried phrases. A high-value woman understands this. She does not drown her listener in words. She invites them into the quiet power of her presence. There is another dimension to speaking with grace: empathy. Grace is not self-centered. It considers the feelings of others. It allows you to speak truth without cruelty, to offer correction without humiliation, and to disagree without disrespect. This is the mark of someone whose self-respect is so strong that she has no need to tear others down to lift herself up. The grace in her voice communicates that she can stand firm without becoming harsh, and she can be gentle without becoming weak. To speak with grace is also to be selective with your reactions. Not every comment deserves a reply, and not every provocation deserves your energy. Sometimes grace means walking away in silence, knowing that the dignity you preserve is more valuable than any point you could prove. A high-value woman does not feel the need to win every argument. She wins by staying aligned with her own values, by keeping her peace, and by refusing to let anyone dictate the tone of her voice or the content of her spirit. Think of your words as gold coins in a small velvet pouch. You cannot spend them recklessly without depleting your wealth. You choose when and how to use them, not because you are stingy, but because you recognize their worth. When you do offer them, you do so with intention, placing them into the hands of someone who will value them, not toss them aside. This is how you keep your speech rare, memorable, and influential. Grace is not about being quiet. It is about being intentional. It is the art of knowing when to speak, what to say, and how to say it in a way that honors both yourself and your listener. It is the recognition that your voice is an instrument, not a weapon, and that every note you play can either bring harmony or discord into the room. A high-value woman chooses harmony, not because she fears conflict, but because she understands her own power is never in haste. It is in the steady, unshakable elegance of her truth. Let silence carry as much meaning as speech, for there are truths that cannot be dressed in syllables. Silence is not emptiness. It is a living presence that speaks in ways the tongue cannot. It is the breath between the notes of a song, the still water that reflects the sky more clearly than the rushing stream. In silence, understanding deepens, and in silence, respect grows. A high-value woman knows that her quiet can command more attention than the loudest voice in the room. She allows her stillness to be a force, not a void. Silence has a language, and it is written in the pauses between sentences, the steady gaze that lingers, the unhurried way of holding space for another person's words to land. It is in the nod that says, "I hear you," without a sound, and in the measured pause that gives weight to what has just been spoken. When you speak without allowing silence to breathe, your words can blur together into noise. But when you let silence live alongside your voice, you give each word a frame, a way for others to see and feel its importance. Many fear silence, mistaking it for weakness, ignorance, or disinterest. But silence in the hands of the wise is a shield, a mirror, and a teacher. It is a shield because it protects you from saying what you might later regret, giving you the space to choose your response with care. It is a mirror because in the absence of your voice, others often reveal themselves more fully, filling the quiet with their own truths. And it is a teacher because it allows you to listen, not just to the words of others, but to the tone, the pauses, and the emotions that often speak louder than sentences. There is also a dignity in silence. It says, "I do not need to prove my worth by speaking every thought that crosses my mind." It says, "I am confident enough to let the moment pass without rushing to fill it." This kind of silence is not passive, it is deliberate. It is the choice to let presence speak when words would only dilute the truth. High-value women understand this. They do not scramble to be heard. They let their calm restraint speak volumes about their confidence and self-possession. Silence can also be an act of power in conversation. In moments of negotiation, disagreement, or vulnerability, a well-placed pause can shift the dynamic entirely. People often rush to fill a silence, revealing more than they intended or reconsidering their stance. By staying silent, you create space for the truth to emerge naturally, without force. It is not manipulation. It is an understanding of human nature and the patience to let clarity unfold. Silence, when paired with listening, becomes a gift. Most people do not listen to understand, they listen to reply. But when you give someone the rare experience of being truly heard, without interruption, without judgment, you offer them a moment of profound respect. And in return, they often grant you the same. This is the kind of connection that cannot be rushed or spoken into existence. It is cultivated in the quiet. Silence also holds the beauty of mystery. When you speak less, people wonder more. They lean in. They pay closer attention. They value your words when you do speak. It is the scarcity of speech that makes it precious. A high-value woman knows she does not have to narrate her every thought or explain her every move. Her silence leaves space for imagination, for curiosity, for respect to deepen in the absence of overexposure. And in moments of tension, silence can be the strongest statement. Walking away without a word, meeting hostility with a calm stare, refusing to answer a question meant to diminish you, these silences speak a language of self-respect and boundary. They say, "You cannot pull me into a fight that lowers my spirit." They say, "My peace is worth more than your point." This kind of silence is not withdrawal. It is a declaration of sovereignty. Silence is not the opposite of speech. It is its partner. Just as music is shaped by both sound and stillness, our communication is defined not only by what we say, but by what we choose not to say. A woman who lets silence carry as much meaning as speech is one who trusts herself enough to know that her presence alone has value. She understands that words are powerful, but so is the space in which they are held. In that space, there is room for truth to breathe, for emotions to settle, and for wisdom to rise to the surface without being forced. Ask with dignity. Never plead from scarcity, for the way you request something reveals the way you see yourself. When you ask with dignity, you stand on the foundation of self-worth, knowing that your needs and desires are valid and that they can be voiced without desperation. Your tone carries assurance, not fear. Your words carry clarity, not clinging. A woman of high value understands that the difference between asking and pleading lies in the energy behind the request. Pleading bends the spine and lowers the gaze, while dignity keeps the head lifted and the spirit intact. Scarcity is a dangerous lens. It whispers that what you want is rare, that opportunities will slip away if you do not grasp for them, that you must accept whatever is offered because you may not be offered more. This belief leads to hurried speech, nervous over-explaining, and a willingness to settle for less than you deserve. But when you believe in your own value, you do not fear that what is right for you will pass you by. You ask without shrinking. You request without apology. You know that if the answer is no, it is not a measure of your worth. It is simply a redirection towards something better suited for you. To ask with dignity is to communicate as an equal. It does not matter if you are speaking to a stranger, a friend, or someone in a position of authority. You recognize that you have as much right to make a request as they do to accept or decline it. This posture of equality is not arrogance. It is self-respect. It says, "I trust myself enough to stand here and ask, and I trust you enough to answer honestly." It removes the need for manipulation or performance because dignity does not depend on approval. It stands firm whether the answer is yes or no. Pleading, on the other hand, emerges from a fear that the answer must be yes or all will be lost. It fills the space with too many words, as if piling reasons upon reasons will make you more worthy of what you seek. It often places the other person above you, turning the request into a performance of need rather than a clear expression of desire. This dynamic shifts the balance of respect. When you plead, you give away your power, and the person you are speaking to can sense it. Dignity changes everything about the delivery of your words. Your voice is steady, your body language open, your tone calm. You state what you need, want, or expect without wrapping it in self-doubt. If you are asking for help, you acknowledge the other person's ability to choose rather than trying to corner them into agreement. If you are setting a boundary, you present it as a truth, not as a plea for permission. This is how a high-value woman moves, rooted, sure, and aware that her worth is not measured by the answer she receives. Asking with dignity also means knowing when not to ask at all. There are moments when silence preserves more self-respect than a request that would place you in a position of begging for crumbs. In these moments, You walk away, trusting that what you need will come from another source, one that meets you at your level. This refusal to beg is not pride. It is a form of self-preservation. It is the understanding that if something requires you to abandon your dignity to obtain it, it is not truly for you. Even in intimate relationships, the principle holds true. Love, care, and respect should be given freely, not extracted through pleading. When you ask with dignity, you invite a partner to meet you in mutual respect, to give because they want to, not because they feel cornered. You leave space for generosity to flow naturally, knowing that forced offerings breed quiet resentment. This applies not only to romance, but to friendships, family ties, and professional exchanges. Anywhere your self-worth might be tested by the temptation to beg for acceptance or approval. To ask with dignity is also to understand timing. You do not rush to demand in moments of high emotion. You wait until your words are steady and your thoughts are clear, because you know that the way you present your request is as important as the request itself. In this way, you honor not just your own self-respect, but also the other person's ability to hear you fully. When you live by this principle, you create a quiet but unshakable power. You send the message that you are not here to scrape for what is left. You are here to stand for what aligns with your worth. And in doing so, you attract people, opportunities, and situations that respond to the steadiness of your presence rather than the noise of desperation. You become the woman whose requests are heard, not because she shouts the loudest, but because her words carry the rare weight of dignity. Honor yourself first, so others know how to honor you, for the way you treat yourself sets the blueprint for how the world will treat you. Every boundary you draw, every standard you uphold, every choice you make in alignment with your worth becomes a silent declaration. This is who I am, and this is how I expect to be met. People take cues from you. If you respect yourself, they will sense it and respond in kind. If you neglect yourself, they will assume it is acceptable to do the same. Self-honor is not selfishness. It is the foundation upon which all healthy relationships are built. To honor yourself means to recognize your own value before anyone else validates it. It is refusing to wait for permission to feel worthy. You decide within yourself that you are deserving of love, respect, and kindness, not because you have earned them through perfection, but because your humanity makes you inherently worthy of them. This inner knowing allows you to move through the world without shrinking for approval or bending to fit someone else's vision of you. Self-honor is visible in the choices you make daily. It is in the way you speak about yourself, avoiding self-deprecating jokes that chip away at your confidence. It is in how you care for your body, not out of vanity, but because it is the vessel that carries you through life. It is in how you guard your time, understanding that your energy is not an endless resource to be spent on people or situations that drain you. It is in how you refuse to tolerate disrespect, no matter how charming the source may be. When you honor yourself first, you teach others your language without speaking a word. If you show that you will walk away from situations that diminish you, others quickly learn that your presence is a privilege, not a convenience. If you speak with clarity and self-respect, others will mirror that tone when addressing you. If you treat yourself with care and attention, you signal that you expect the same from anyone who enters your life. This kind of self-honor is not loud or boastful. It is steady and consistent. It is not about announcing your worth to the world, but about living it quietly and unshakably. Over time, people learn exactly how to approach you because you have modeled the behavior you expect. Those who cannot or will not meet your standard will naturally drift away, and those who can will rise to match it. There is a common trap in waiting for others to show you respect before you give it to yourself. This is backwards. If you do not set the tone for how you are treated, you leave that power in someone else's hands. People may guess, they may test, or they may impose their own standards upon you. Without the anchor of self-honor, you risk being pulled into dynamics that erode your sense of worth. But when you hold yourself to a certain standard, you create a filter through which every relationship must pass. Honoring yourself also means forgiving yourself, not in a way that excuses harmful choices, but in a way that acknowledges your humanity and your capacity to grow. You cannot expect others to treat you with compassion if you are harsh and unforgiving toward yourself. Self-compassion is a powerful form of honor. It reminds you that mistakes do not define you and that every moment is an opportunity to choose better. It also means celebrating yourself, not only in moments of achievement, but in the quiet consistency of showing up for your life. Too often we wait for others to applaud us, but self-honor means acknowledging your own efforts, even when no one else is watching. It is pausing to say, I am proud of how I handled that, or I am grateful for the person I am becoming. These private affirmations build a quiet confidence that radiates outward, influencing how others see you. To honor yourself is to refuse to negotiate your non-negotiables. It is knowing what you stand for and holding that line even when it is inconvenient or unpopular. It is not about being rigid or unkind. It is about ensuring that in every interaction you remain in alignment with your values. This consistency is what teaches others that your boundaries are not suggestions. They are the terms of your presence. When you live in this way, you make it easy for others to honor you because you have shown them exactly how it is done. You become the standard, the example, the quiet force that draws respect without demanding it. And in the process, you attract relationships, opportunities, and environments that reflect back the dignity you have already claimed for yourself. Hold truth like a lantern, steady, unshaken, illuminating, for truth is not meant to be hidden in the folds of fear or dimmed to make others comfortable. It is meant to be carried openly, casting light on the path ahead and revealing what lies in shadow. A woman who holds her truth like a lantern does not swing it wildly, blinding those around her, nor does she let it flicker uncertainly in her hands. She holds it with the steadiness of one who knows that light is meant to guide, not to scorch. Truth has a weight to it, and those who carry it must be prepared for the responsibility it brings. It asks you to face yourself without flinching, to see your flaws without turning away, and to acknowledge your strengths without false modesty. This kind of truth is not always comfortable. It will reveal the cracks in your own foundation as much as it will in the world around you. But when you hold it steadily, without shaking, it becomes a source of clarity, both for yourself and for those who walk beside you. The lantern of truth must be carried with both courage and care. Courage because there will be moments when speaking the truth will cost you comfort, connection, or approval. Care because truth without compassion can become a weapon rather than a light. A high-value woman understands this balance. She does not distort the truth to please, but she also does not hurl it carelessly in ways that wound unnecessarily. Her aim is illumination, not destruction. Holding truth steady means resisting the temptation to drop it when storms come. Fear can make you want to dim your light, to hide what you know in order to avoid conflict or rejection. But the worth of a lantern is proven in darkness, not daylight. It is when the path is uncertain, when the wind is high, when others lose their bearings. That is when your steady truth matters most. In those moments, your ability to remain unshaken is not just for your sake, but for those who look to you for direction. To hold truth in this way is also to resist the pull of convenience. There are easy half-truths, polite evasions, and comforting lies that may seem tempting in the moment. They may spare you discomfort now, but they cost you integrity later. A woman who holds truth like a lantern chooses clarity over convenience, even when it is not the easier road. She knows that the trust she builds with herself and others depends on her commitment to keep her light untarnished. Illumination is not only about revealing what is wrong, it is also about showing what is good and possible. A lantern casts light on dangers, yes, but it also reveals beauty along the path. When you hold truth this way, you are not only pointing out flaws or injustices, you are also showing the strengths, the hopes, and the possibilities that might otherwise remain unseen. Truth, carried with intention, can inspire just as much as it can warn. Steadiness in truth comes from deep alignment with your own values. When you know what you believe and why you believe it, you are less likely to waver under pressure. People may question you, challenge you, or try to persuade you to dim your light for their comfort, but your steadiness will hold. This is not stubbornness, it is rootedness. It is the quiet certainty of knowing that you are living in accordance with what you hold sacred. Such steadiness does not mean rigidity. The lantern's light can reveal new paths, new understandings, and even your own blind spots. To hold truth is also to remain open to expanding it, to adjusting your course when new light reveals a better way. The key is that you do not let go of the lantern, you simply let it guide you to a more complete and honest view. There will always be those who prefer you dim your light, either because it reveals things they do not wish to see, or because your illumination reminds them of their own darkness. But to hold your truth is to refuse to let others' discomfort dictate your clarity. You do not shine to shame, you shine to see. You do not hold the lantern to stand above others, but to walk alongside them with a light that can be shared. In this way, the truth you carry becomes more than a personal compass. It becomes a beacon. Those who are ready for it will draw closer, grateful for the clarity it offers. Those who are not may turn away, but that does not mean you dim your flame. You keep it steady, unshaken, illuminating, for this is how you walk with integrity through the darkness and how you invite others to find their own way into the light. Leave space for mystery. Not all power is spoken aloud, for there is a strength in what remains unsaid, a depth in what is not fully revealed. Power does not always shout. It often lingers quietly, like a still lake that holds secrets in its depths. A woman who understands this moves with an air that invites curiosity rather than satisfying it completely. She knows that mystery is not deception. It is the art of allowing others to discover her in layers rather than all at once. When everything about you is immediately explained, defined, and displayed, there is little left for others to explore. Mystery keeps the imagination alive, and imagination fuels intrigue. It is not about withholding out of fear or playing games. It is about honoring the truth that not every part of you is for public display. Some things are sacred, meant only for those who have earned the right to witness them. This kind of restraint is a quiet declaration of self-respect. Mystery is also an act of protection. The more you reveal to everyone, the more you give others the tools to interpret, judge, or even misuse your truth. By keeping certain parts of yourself reserved, you ensure that your essence is not carelessly handled. In a world that moves quickly, demanding constant updates, explanations, and confessions, choosing to hold something back is an act of power. It says, I am not here to feed curiosity at the expense of my own peace. Leaving space for mystery shapes the way you speak. You do not rush to fill every silence, nor do you answer every question in full detail. You choose your words the way an artist chooses brushstrokes, knowing that what is left unpainted can be as striking as what is shown. This subtlety keeps your presence compelling. People lean in, listening more carefully, sensing there is always more beneath the surface. The same is true in your actions. Not every move needs an announcement. There is strength in letting your progress be seen in its results rather than in constant updates. You can work quietly, build steadily, and let your achievements speak without fanfare. In doing so, you not only preserve your own focus, but you also keep your momentum free from unnecessary interference. Mystery deepens connection by allowing discovery to unfold naturally. When someone learns about you slowly, they remain engaged, intrigued by the parts of you they have yet to know. This is true in love, in friendship, and even in professional relationships. People value what they earn more than what they are handed without effort. When you reveal yourself gradually, you create a sense of journey. Each interaction becomes a step deeper into your world. There is also a kind of elegance in not needing to explain yourself to everyone. You do not owe the full story of your choices to those who have not earned your trust. You can smile at curiosity without feeling compelled to satisfy it. In this way, mystery protects you from being consumed by the opinions and expectations of others. You remain grounded in your own sense of self, free from the pressure to constantly perform your identity for the world. Power unspoken is often the most enduring. Words can be twisted, but energy is felt. A woman who moves in quiet confidence radiates strength without declaring it. She does not need to tell you she is capable. You sense it in her posture, her eyes, the way she carries herself. She does not need to boast of her resilience. You see it in the way she navigates storms without losing her center. This unspoken power commands respect in a way that noise never could. Mystery also leaves room for others to bring their own interpretations, to fill the space you create with their own curiosity. Some will project their hopes onto you, others their fears, but all will recognize that you cannot be easily defined. That recognition alone makes you unforgettable. For it is not the fully explained that lingers in memory, but the partly veiled, the quietly confident, the one who does not rush to give everything away. By leaving space for mystery, you preserve the richness of your presence. You allow your life to have private corners that are yours alone. You show that your power is not dependent on constant visibility, but on the quiet certainty that you are more than what anyone can fully know. And in that space, your influence grows, not because you speak every truth aloud, but because you live in such a way that people feel there is always more to you than meets the eye. A woman of high value moves through the world with intention, speaking with grace, letting silence speak for her, asking from dignity rather than scarcity, honoring herself before seeking honor from others, holding truth with steady light, and leaving space for mystery. Her power is neither hurried nor loud, but measured, rooted, and quietly magnetic. She teaches others how to treat her by the way she treats herself, and she shapes every interaction with the calm assurance of someone who knows her worth. She does not need to demand respect. It rises to meet her, drawn by the undeniable force of her presence.